Hi, I'm Rodney, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out the Nikon 24-200 Ultra Zoom lens. All right, thanks for joining me. So today we're looking at the Nikkor 24-200. It's an f4 to f6.3 zoom. So if you're like me, you've always been told, stay away from the super zoom. They're not sharp, they're not good. So when I switched to mirrorless, I looked at what's a good first lens for me. And the Nikkor 24-200 comes in at about $1,200 Canadian. And as far as the range goes, it covers a nice range. And so that's got to be one of those things you look at and go, that's fairly decent. I took this as my primary lens on my last trip to the Dominican. And I said, okay, I'm going to spend 6 days photographing models, and I'm going to make this my primary go-to lens. So it was pretty much glued onto my camera the whole time. I was using it with a Z7 that I bought used, sort of my budget entry point into full-frame mirrorless photography. I gotta tell you, after a week of shooting, the results I found were consistently, it's a beautiful, beautiful Tack Sharp lens. Sharp everywhere that I need it to be, and it's not that hard, as long as you can create depth in your image, to blow your background out of focus. It's consistently sharp. There are, like every other thing, you know, you can look at things and you go, yeah, not every image is Tack Sharp, but I'm not sure whether to attribute that to the lens, the camera, or the user error. We've always been told that super zooms are not sharp, they're not dependable, and it's not the thing you should go to. So before I bought this, I did a bit of research, and a lot of people are going, hey, it's a great lens for landscapes. It's sharp, it's just a sweet lens, it works beautifully, it's consistent, great lens for landscapes. However, nobody talks about what it's like from portraits. You look at the charts and the tests and everything else, they look at edge-to-edge sharpness and all the rest of this. What I'm looking at is the practical, real world. I photograph people, and I want to do beauty portraits typically, but ultimately, can you use this? Is it a good sharp lens for doing beauty portraits? That's the question. And the answer is yes. So the aperture moves to f6.3. It's a variable aperture lens. The aperture moves to f6.3 fairly quick in the zoom range. By the time you hit about 60 or 70, you're sitting at f6.3 as your maximum aperture. So you're not going to get that totally blown out narrow depth of field that you would get in an f2.8 lens. However, as long as you've got some room between your subject and the background, you can still blur out the background and get some beautiful stuff with that. And it is Tack Sharp. This lens is beautiful. When you look at it at full size, the images are great. When we zoom into 100%, the eyelashes, you can see every detail. It's some would say it's almost too sharp, but there's no such thing, right? It's a really beautiful lens. And after using it for a week there, I just go, this is the perfect first lens if you're getting into beauty photography, travel photography, trying to do it all. It is my first lens that I bought. It's the go-to and absolutely worth using. Now, that being said, there are situations where you just gotta blow that background out. And I certainly travel with my 70-200 2.8 because there's nothing quite like that for just giving you a consistent standard go-to lens, but it's big and it's heavy. It's twice the size and over twice the weight of this thing. And if you're gonna be using it day after day after day, it really, that takes a toll on your body. So again, if you've got the money and you've got the room and you've got the strength for the big lenses, that's awesome. But if you're looking at one lens to put in your camera to do a trip, or whether it be landscape and beauty photography or portraits or whatever it happens to be, this is a great first lens. It's a great starter lens. And then after this, I would say, again, depending on what style of photography you do, if you do landscapes, I have this on one camera, and then I have a wide angle on my other camera, and that works really well. If you do a lot of portraits and that's what you really want to do, you can keep this on one camera. And the next lens that I would suggest is the Nikon 28-75 2.8. It is a beautiful Tack Sharp lens, and we'll do a review on that shortly. But this is absolutely I would highly recommend it as the first lens to go into a mirrorless system. Nikon has done a really good job of it, brilliantly designed, it's light, and while it does have a lot of plastic, you've still got the metal lens mount. It's just well built, it's solid, and it also comes with your lens hood, so you do have some protection from the sun and from that lens flare that can come in, but overall, beautiful, beautiful lens. I highly recommend it. Don't be scared to give it a go. So thanks for joining. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you'd like to join me on location for a teaching session where we do some of this beautiful portrait work, feel free to send me an email. My info is in the description. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day.